Hey guys, this is Coach Brandon with 1780 Fitness and Martial Arts. Stay pretty busy between my schedule of training clients and training myself, but I get a lot of questions that come in via social media and from folks at the gym. So I'm going to try to answer some of those for you on the fly as thoroughly as I can. So one of those questions that comes up pretty much every week, usually from guys, is how do I get six-pack abs? How do I make my abs show up? So some good news. Some of that is within your control. Some bad news, some of that is kind of out of your hands. What's out of your hands are the genetics, how the rectus abdominis is shaped. The rectus abdominis is a muscle that runs pretty much along the entire front of the abdomen, and it's actually two parallel muscles separated by the linea alba. That's what gives it that divide down the muscle. It's separated further by some tendinous intersections that give it that look of the 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack when it flexes. Now, the rectus abdominis is responsible essentially for flexion of the lumbar spine. So moving your chest down toward your pelvis or moving your pelvis up toward your chest if your chest is in a fixed position. So that's what it does for you. It's the function that it performs. Now, the good news is you can alter your body composition to further reveal those abs. And I've heard people say before, abs aren't made in the gym, they're made in the kitchen. I have to disagree. They are, in fact, like every other muscle made in the gym. They're just revealed in the kitchen. So what it says about your body when we can see your rectus abdominis well-defined, whether it's a 4-pack, 6-pack, or 8-pack, doesn't say much necessarily about your physical fitness, but it does say a lot about your body composition. So people with lower body fat tend to have much more defined rectus abdominis. Now, some of that plays into, again, genetics. In the average human, the rectus abdominis is about 10 millimeters thick. In athletes, it can be up to about 20 millimeters thick. So it can get quite thick, especially among athletes who have to rely upon that part of the body quite often. Judo and combat sports, we have a lot of rotational power. We have a lot of spinal flexion, and it tends to be well-defined in athletes from that sport, for example. Sprinters also tend to have a lot of abdominal definition. But whatever it is, we can kind of tailor it to that. So in other words, the thicker that muscle is, the earlier it's going to show up in relation to your body fat. Genetically, I have a pretty pronounced 4-pack, but not so much 6-pack and 8-pack. So around 15% body fat, my 4-pack shows up pretty well. It's around 10% and below is when my 6 and 8-pack start to show up. But that depends on the total size of the muscle. And the total volume of the muscle in the average person is going to be around 300 centimeters cubed. In an athlete who trains his core intensely, that's going to be closer to 500 centimeters cubed. So the size of it is relative to how soon it shows up in relation to your reducing body fat. So the good news is we can increase muscle mass in our rectus abdominis like we do every other muscle via resistance training, and we can make it show up better by what we eat and when we eat. So tailoring our nutrition to reduce our body fat is the easiest way to reduce that. I'm sure you've heard the old saying, you can't out-train a bad diet. That's absolutely true. So what you ingest is going to be very much related to your body composition more than how you train. So I hope that answers some of your questions. We'll get to an actual workout that we can look at to increase some of our muscle mass in the rectus abdominis over time. And I'll be talking too about a standing rotational movement, which is the element of training that I think most people, probably even the majority of athletes, miss in their core strength and conditioning, which really helps us stabilize the spine and prevent injury. So we'll get to that later on, guys. As always, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, send them via direct message, or see me in person, and we'll get to answering them. Thanks, and stay safe.